Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is one of the paid requests I got from Devon. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie reviews, re-reviews, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, full playthrough, tier list ranking, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box. To be, like I said, any type of video or review or reaction, commentary, video game related, movie related, whatever the case. PayPal, Cash App, links are down below, so thank you. So this is for Little Monsters from 1989. And I've seen this film a few times throughout the years. I'll be honest, I was never a fan of this film. I know for some people they consider this a childhood favorite, a cult film. They like it. I was never a fan of it. I always thought this was kind of lame. If you disagree, that's fine. Teach their own. The way I looked at this, it was a crappy version of Beetlejuice. I don't know when this idea started. Now, Beetlejuice came out in '88, but I don't know if this idea was thought out before that, but I'm damn stippy a reason this got... Hey, maybe I'm wrong, but it would feel like Beetlejuice, that success, helped get this film eventually out there. Now it stars Fred Savage, which is interesting to see him, because I always thought he was a good kid actor, and I didn't watch much of the Wonder Years. I know of it, I had seen clips of it. I know Daniel Stern, who actually plays his dad in this movie. He was the voice of the Fred Savage character when he's older, reminiscing about these times when he was a kid. Of course, he was also in The Princess Bride, Fred Savage that is. He was in The Wizard, where his brother really knows about Nintendo games, and they try to go to the Nintendo tournament, which the kid cheated because somehow he knew about the warp whistle and Super Mario Bros. 3. I'm like, I don't care how autistic you are. I don't care how special you are. You're not psychic. So you ain't no goddamn way you don't know about the secret warp whistle in Super Mario Bros. 3 unless you cheated. So, that's it, you know. But The Wizard, I can watch. I would say I like it more than this. Fred Savage, you don't really hear about nowadays. He was in some of the Austin Powers sequels, but what happened to him was they did this Wonder Years reboot, and he got fired because of sexual misconduct allegations, which apparently he has a little bit of history of. And I think now the only time I see him is he's trying to hawk watches or something like that. But congrats on fucking up your career, dude. Of course, well, what if they're not true? Well, then I'll recant what I say. But if they are true, Fred, you fucked up. Should have kept you little monster in your pants if that was the case. So, who knows? Because I wasn't there. So he stars... His family has just moved. His real-life brother plays his younger brother, Ben Savage, who will later star in Boy Meets World. The dad is played by Daniel Stern, which again is funny because Daniel Stern played the older version of him that we hear the voice of in the Wonder Years. And them and the mom, they moved there. The dad and the mom are fighting because the dad always has to work, and the mom said, I thought things would be different. Fred Savage trying to deal with school. The younger brother keeps having nightmares about monsters under his bed. There's this girl Fred starts to like at school. And then you have the bully, which I completely fucking forgot he was in this. The bully is Buzz from Home Alone. So he was the bully in this, and then he played the dickhead brother in Home Alone, and then later on in life, allegations of abuse and rape. Yes. And the reason, I'm not laughing, I'm just, what I read, I went, what? But yeah, apparently he likes to beat the hell out of women and force them into stuff. So I guess, he was a bully and Buzz a dickhead for a good reason. Because he's like that in real life, apparently. So damn, that's two people. That's two kids. What is it with kids in the 80s, man? Anthony Michael Hall getting drunk and doing stupid shit. There was that story. Matthew Broderick, whatever the fuck happened overseas and hit a car and killed the people in the other car. What the fuck, dude? Now Buzz Home Alone. If you want to learn more, you read up on it. So one day, there's a bit of a bet where Ben Savage and his buddy tell Fred Savage, I want to switch rooms with you. I'll pay you. Make it a bet. So Fred Savage does. Notices something weird's going on where the TV's in the closet and the remote control suddenly appears under the bed. So the next day he makes a trap. First off, I don't trust this lead kid. Because who in the fuck eats a peanut butter and onion sandwich? If you're someone that eats a peanut butter and onion sandwich, I don't want to talk to you. I'm just like, I don't... That you're so off the reservation. I'm like, who the fuck has a peanut butter and onion sandwich fixation? Like, really? Peanut butter and onion. And you eat it. You don't, like, try to kill someone with it or poison an animal with it. You eat this. So I don't trust anyone who eats like that, number one. Number two, I don't know if I could trust Fred Savage, based on what I've heard. But anyway. So eventually catches the monster, and it's played by Howie Mandel. Now, this monster is painted blue. If light hits them, they turn into, like, it's just their clothes left. And I guess if they're under the light long enough, they eventually die. Eventually, Fred Savage eases up on it. They become friends. And Howie Mandel, to me, he was an annoying version of Beetlejuice. I was annoyed by this character. I don't even give a shit about the... That's the thing. The rest of the movie is just Howie Mandel takes Fred Savage to the underground of monsters. I kind of like that you would see later in Monsters, Inc., where there's all these doors, and they go to which door, you be under a kid's bed, and they scare them. So, basically, we wonder if the people in Monsters, Inc. ever saw this movie. But maybe it had a lower budget than Beetlejuice, but Beetlejuice just had so much more creativity, humor, more interesting story, more intriguing story that helped with the pacing, and the world was so much more cool to watch. The sand dunes and the sandworms and the guy who's flattened and goes through the thing, the football players. Just the way the look and the lighting and the vibe. I thought the monster world in this always sucked ass. It looked like shit. Now, compared to a film nowadays, it looks, I'm sure, amazing, but it just... The monsters always looked cheap, because it was cheap. Howie Mandel's makeup, I always thought he was a lame-looking monster. Especially these stupid horns that you can tell are plastic because they'll flop around and stuff. And I thought he was annoying. I thought Howie Mandel was really annoying. Almost like Drop Dead Fred annoying. That's another film I'm not really a fan of. He was loud. He was, oh, let me get the snot out. And let me open the door by farting. And it's like, what? Get the fuck out of here, dude. So Fred Savage is hanging with this annoying fuckwit of a monster. And Howie Mandel, I don't mind him as an actor, comedian. I know he had a tough time working on the film because the makeup would keep melting because where they would film it was apparently hot as hell. So it probably wasn't his favorite film to make. Well, that's cool because it wasn't my favorite film to watch. It's not the worst film ever. I'm not saying that. I would not say I hate the film. I don't hate the film. I just think the film's kind of lame. I do. It's just a... Okay, would I rather watch this than Beetlejuice 2? I would rather watch this. But that's not saying much. I'm like, well, I'd just rather watch Beetlejuice 1 instead. Because that's what it made me think of. Like a crappy version of Beetlejuice 1. And the world is just kind of, here's some lights here, here's a door there. And the monsters, they just didn't seem that interesting to look at. And what they do down there, here's some food that looks like someone left it there for a couple days. Here's some pinball machines. And that's pretty much it. So I didn't understand why Freddy Savage wanted to keep going down here to have fun and with what? Plus, him and the monster were dicks because they went to innocent kids' rooms. And there's this montage where they go to each of these kids' rooms and they do stuff to scare them. Or get them in trouble, I should say. So we're going to put snot into this thing. And we're going to get all these kids into trouble. And you see the montage of these poor kids who did nothing wrong going, I didn't do anything. You're going to military school. Who thought the cat should have been shaved? I'm like, these poor kids, they did nothing wrong. And Fred Savage is his kid's fucking dickhead with the other dickhead monster getting all these kids in trouble. They did nothing wrong, which he was complaining about earlier of being blamed for stuff that he didn't do. Because he thought his little brother had this stuff, but you find out it was the monster, and that's where the switch of the rooms and stuff came about in the first place. So he's a hypocrite, and he's a dick, and the monster's a dickhead. So why should I root for these people? Why should I care what happens to them? Why should I give a flying fuck? They're doing dickhead things to innocent people, and I'm supposed to give a shit. They put a fucking roller skate right by the stairs. I'm like, someone's going to trip over and fall down the fucking stairs and break their neck. That's how horror films, people will die because they put something there. Hell, Child's Play 2, Chucky tripped the guy. How's it hanging, Phil? So he didn't put a roller skate, but he would trip the same way someone would trip when you put the... I think it was the monster, Howie Mandel, put the roller skate right there by the stairs. I mean, someone's going to trip and fall and die. What the fuck? And the bully's a dick, but they piss in his... They get rid of his apple juice and piss in it. Listen, the bully's a dickhead. Putting piss in his jar is another, that's another thing. That's a whole other realm. This movie has a weird tone, too. Because the bad guys, one of them is Rick Dukeman, who's in The Burbs as Art. He had a bit part in Gremlins 2. He was a guy told to shut down the power in Die Hard. He's like the subordinate to the bad guy, played by Frank Whaley, who's like the leader of this, the boss of the ruler of the monster underworld. This other, it's a monster. He looks like a kid, but he's got like multiple arms and one here. Like arms here, but one here. Rick Dukeman rips his fucking head off and throws it like a football or a basketball. I'm like, what the fuck? Did that kid just get his head ripped off? Yes, he did. Or like a monster looks at Fred Savage and goes, he's got a nice ass. What? How old is Fred Savage? And this monster's like, hey, you got a nice ass. I'm like, what the fuck? Who the fuck is this for? So eventually Fred Savage stops them because they're ready to steer a baby. So he stops them and sheds some light. literally, but then his arm gets fucked up, and he realizes that the longer you stay in that realm, the more you turn into a monster. So he decides never to go back. But Frank Whaley, which, I mean, he was in Swimming with Sharks, he was in Vacancy, he's been in a few films, Frank Whaley. I think he played Lee Harvey Oswald in JFK, I think. He's like, well, we need more monsters, so we need to bring more kids down here. He was almost ready, so they kidnap his brother to get him to save his brother. He gets the help of his kind of new girlfriend and his brother's buddy, and the three of them get lights and they go down there. And I did, it's a kid's film, shooting a light at someone and then they turn to clothes. That's not badass. I'm sorry, it's just not. I mean, you can piss in a jar and make someone drink it. You can rip a kid's head off. But all the badasses who turn a light and they turn to clothes. It's like, I don't know. It's not my kind of movie. Maybe that's the thing. It's not my kind of film. So they find Frank Whaley. They shoot light at him. His face gets burnt up. He has these things and these toy taints, and it fucks up the lights. They get caught, put into like a jail cell. Apparently there's no guards. And then the girl has this idea to somehow take pencils and create electricity. So it's two pencils and electrical charges between them. I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. I'd like someone to do like a Mythbusters on that, see if that actually works. Does this theme work with the pencils? If it does, hey, I learned something. If it doesn't, then of course bullshit. Please feel free to let me know. But they do that so that Howie Mandel could go to the clothes, go under, and unlock. So again, no guards to see this. They escape. They get more lights. They come back. And then the bad guys just stand there. They literally just stand there. They see that they got all these lights on them. Frank Whaley, like the last time, his face got fucked up. Now, the creature under the face, I didn't mind his look. It was kind of weird earlier, but in an interesting way, where he's got this monstrous, like, gremlin type of face, but he's talking, "You don't play fair. We could have had some good times." Or, I don't think he exactly says that, because I'd be like, what the fuck do you mean by good times? You mean good times? Or, you know, I don't know. One monster says Fred Savage had a nice ass, so. But, you don't play fair. Like, he's talking very childish, and he's called Boy, Frank Whaley's character. And I didn't mind that design. That was like the only monster design I did not mind. Rick Dukeman's was fine. It has like these tusks here. That was fine. But they just stand there, just waiting for them to turn on the lights and hit them. I'm like, you're not even going to have any other bad guys. You're not even going to try to fight. You're not even going to try to run. You're not even going to try to protect. You're not even going to have a chase scene. You're not even going to have a battle. You just stand there, waiting for them to turn the light on, and then he gets fucked up. Well, they both get fucked up. Then they dip Ben Savage out. They regroup, or Rick Dukeman's character regroups himself. And then Howie Mandel's character comes out with a flamethrower, and I'm like, you had a fucking flamethrower the whole goddamn time? Where the fuck did you get this flamethrower? Why didn't you use this flamethrower earlier? You could have given anybody this flamethrower, and the movie would have been done 20 minutes ago. I'm sitting there going, you had a flamethrower the whole goddamn time? Well, you got one. Well, he must have known where the fuck one was, so why the fuck didn't he get that earlier? You knew where a flamethrower... Matt wants the what? The flamethrower? What? Yeah, he had a flamethrower, or he knew where one was the whole goddamn time. So he flamethrows Rick Duteman's character. Now the idea is that if you stay there till the sun comes up, you're there forever. Like you fully turn to a monster, you're there forever. So they have to outrun the sun. So they're going to where all the doors. So they get to Malibu. They get out. Fred Savage and Howie say goodbye. Fred Savage has to make a phone call to his parents. Which, by the way, that whole thing about them divorcing, that's never resolved. So they could still possibly divorce anyway. And then Fred Savage, oh, it's a long story. I'd love to hear how the fuck he explains how they got to Malibu. Because he can't tell the truth, because they wouldn't believe it. But I would love to hear the story, what the hell he tells. Now, the song at the end credits, I don't mind. The road that leads to nowhere. Da, 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 da. I don't mind that song. I think that song works fine. I'm talking about positives now. So I don't mind that song. I think Fred Savage, to repeat, he's a good kid actor. It's just his agent picked him the wrong roles. They picked him these movies that were concepts, that were gimmicks, that were thought to be surefire hits. Vice versa, you and Judge Reinhold switch bodies. And I don't know how that did, how they did the box office. This film, The Wizard with the Nintendo stuff, it didn't really work out for Fred. What the agent, I'm guessing it was the agent's choice. What they needed to do with Fred Savage was wait for a film like The Sandlot. Or something like that where you really get some talented people behind the camera or the screenplay. I think that's really what hurt that, because, okay, the person who did Little Monsters. Let me look up Little Monsters, and then let me look up The Wizard, which was also 89, and let me look up Vice Versa, which was 88. Vice Versa cost $10 million, made $13 million. Not really a giant hit, And who made that? Brian Gilbert. Who's Brian Gilbert? Not Without My Daughter, Tom and Viv, The Gathering, French Lesson. So I guess still, who the fuck is Brian Gilbert? I don't know. The Wizard, Todd Holland. Not Tom, Todd Holland. Okay, what did he do? Krippendorf's Tribe. And The Wizard was better than that. He did episodes of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Max Headroom, and The Real O'Neills. Whatever the fuck that show is. Again, who the fuck is Todd Holland? This one, Richard Alan Greenberg. Who the fuck is that? He was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, which a lot of people were involved with that, for Predator. This was the first film he directed and the last film he directed. He would want to be a title designer. Title designer for Hudson Hawk, Death Becomes Her, Star Trek Nemesis, Edge of Dark title designer. You didn't have a whole lot of talented people. Like the person who wrote this, Terry Rossio, which, I mean, he co-wrote, well, Aladdin, but then there's like three other people on Aladdin script. Just like there's three other people for Shrek. Multiple writers for Pirates of the Caribbean. Co-wrote The Lone Ranger. So yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the script could have been changed. Maybe it's execution. I don't know. But yeah, bad picks that Fred Savage did, and this film and The Wizard both flopped. Vice versa, flopped. That pretty much killed his career. And actually, that's one last thing I'll look up. What did Fred Savage do after this? So, apologies. Because the director never made another film. Howie Mandel, who of course later, he was the voice of Gizmo, and later he'd be Deal or No Deal host, America's Got Talent judge. Movie-wise, he was the voice of Gizmo in Gremlins 2, and films like Pinocchio 3000 as a voice. But yeah, Fred Savage, I'm just curious what he did after this, so apologies. Nothing, because after 1989, he did not work in another movie. In 97, he did a short film. And in 98, he was in Jungle Book Mowgli's Story, himself narrator. And then he was a junkie named Mark in The Rules of Attraction. Number 3, The Mole, and Austin Powers Gold member. So yeah, from 89 to, I guess if you want to count the short film, 97. So he did nothing for 8 years. I guess to be fair, the Wonder Years went till 93. And then he was in an episode of Seinfeld in 92. When You Remember Me, a TV film in 1990. With Kevin Spacey. Oh God, Kevin Spacey was in that. Jesus. But yeah, film-wise, nothing until 97, 98, movie-wise. So there you go. Yeah, May 2022, Savage was fired as executive producer and director of the Wonder Years reboot after an investigation into alleged inappropriate conduct. While he stated that some of the claims were untrue, he also stated that he was going to work on changing any perceived negative behavior. Okay, it's weird that he says some of them were untrue. Some of them were? Again, interesting choice of words. I'll put it that way. Well, take that for you will. So, yeah, so I'm going off tangents. But yeah, this film didn't do anything. I could see why. Because I would go, just seems like they're trying to do a take on Beetlejuice. But Beetlejuice is better. So again, the monster designs, I didn't think with all that. The tone was all over the place. The humor, Howie Mandel's character were annoying and obnoxious. Not my kind of humor. And the finale, they either lacked the budget or lacked an assured director. Because sometimes with these directors, they get a film and then they get nervous because they don't want to screw up, because if this screws up, then they won't get a chance to direct anymore, which obviously was the case here. Or he chose not to, I don't know. But take that for you will. Thanks for watching, take care. If you like the film, that's fine. There is a Blu-ray, that's the last thing I'll say. The last thing. There was a Blu-ray. I'll just look up what was on there. Obviously, I did not get it because I wasn't a fan of the movie. But Vestron released it. It has audio commentary with Jarrett Gahan. He was an editor-in-chief of cultamonster.com. Conversational but fat-filled assemblage of production and biographical data points. 18 minutes interview with Howie Mandel. 13-minute interview with the producer Andrew Litt. 14-minute interview with special makeup effects creator Robert Short. Interviews from back in the day. Archival footage, 16 minutes, where they show Howie Mandel's transformation into Maurice. VHS promo, making sure they have enough VHS copies of the film to satisfy potential demand, trailer, still gallery. So there's a few things on there. And obviously, you know, there is a cult following of stuff about this movie. Not from me, but to each their own. I mean, there's other films I wish got that release. Murder by Phone still is only on VHS tape. I'm going to beat that dead horse until it finally comes out. I like that film more. Nightlife, aka Grave Misdemeanors, I liked more. I mean, anyway. It's not this movie's fault. I'm just spitballing. I think it's only fair that if, you know, these movies did, these movies should get as well. That's just me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again, Devon. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye for now.